Hello, I am Danny, and I did an inquiry project on the history of Apple and Microsoft, and I will be presenting this to you today. The beginning. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs liked computers from an early age and played with them with his father. Jobs was bad but smart. After he graduated from high school, he went to college, but after 6 months, he dropped out. He went to travel India. When he came back from India, a high school friend, Steve Wozniak, showed him that he made a computer with a monitor and a keyboard. These things had not been invented until then, and they made the Apple I with these components. But the Apple I was a total fail. Bill Gates. Bill Gates had a different way to revolutionize computers. When the first small computer came out, the Altair 8800, Bill and his friend Paul Allen made a code for the computer. This was the first software ever made. They then gave their software to the makers of the Altair. They accepted. After this, Bill and Paul dropped out of Harvard and made a small company called Microsoft. Compatible, Apple and Microsoft. The Apple II. When the Apple II was being made by Steve Wozniak, Steve Jobs was thinking of a new and easy-to-use design. This was the design for the Apple II. In less than a year, they made $8 million in sales. Microsoft takes off. When Bill Gates got a hold of the Apple II, he saw a way to help his own company, Microsoft. He made a circuit board that plugs into the Apple II, enabling it to run business software. Bill and Steve Jobs met, and they both liked the idea. This made the Apple II not just a home device, but a super machine. Apple won, and Microsoft did too, because they sold the circuit board. Microsoft tripled their sales. But Bill was not only thinking about Apple, he was thinking about the largest computer business in the world, IBM. Going big. When Bill set his sights on IBM, he went to one of the meetings. When they told Bill they needed an operating system, he made a deal with IBM. Bill told them he was going to give them an operating system they needed. Problem was, Microsoft didn't have an operating system. Microsoft then bought an operating system from a small company and renamed it DOS, Microsoft DOS, or MS-DOS. That name stuck. IBM accepted the operating system, but Bill wanted to be able to sell it to other computer companies. IBM agreed, and Microsoft became huge. A harsh middle. Big changes to Apple. Apple was about to release the all-new Macintosh, or Mac. Since the Mac was occupying all of Jobs' attention, Jobs hired a Coke Pepsi founder to run Apple before the Mac was about to be released. But before they released it, Apple must get software. Bill and Jobs meet again, and Apple showed them the new computer. Now the Mac had a mouse to interact with the monitor. Bill agreed to make software for the Mac, but when Bill went back to his own company, he told them to make software to compete with the Macs. A lot of names were named at first, but one name stuck: Windows. A flop. When Steve Jobs got word of Windows, he was infuriated. Soon after he got word, Microsoft announced Windows. But Apple still had the upper hand, because Windows still needed 2 years until it would be finished. Apple only needed a few weeks. When Apple finally released the Mac, it was a flop. The Apple sale dropped in half, and the Mac had horrible sales. Because of this, the board that Steve Jobs created with the Coke Pepsi founder voted him out of the company. Good and bad. When Steve Jobs With Steve Jobs out of the company, Apple was not coming up with new ideas. They were in danger of going bankrupt. Meanwhile, at Microsoft, the software for the IBM computer, MS-DOS, was being sold to hundreds of computer companies. Finally, Windows was ready to be released, and it added to the wealth. At Apple, as a final hope, after 15 years, they brought back Steve Jobs to Apple. An amazing and horrible ending. Apple on a roll once again. Apple needed money to be innovative, to make new and exciting products. So they asked Microsoft to invest money. Microsoft thought that having a bad competitor is better than having no competitor. So Microsoft invested a lot of money in Apple. Soon after that, Apple started being in the game once again. They made things like the iMac and soon realized they don't have to just do computers. They made things like the iPod and probably the biggest thing of all, they made the iPhone. After the iPhone, when Apple was releasing a computer software for the Mac OS 8, Apple made a video call to Bill Gates. He got booed by all the Mac fans when they video called him. Heartbreaking. Bill Gates didn't want to be known as a bad guy. He thought of this because of how everyone booed him at the Apple release of the Mac OS 8. He decided to donate a lot of money to help people. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was made by this intention. He wanted to leave the world a better place. Meanwhile, at Apple, Steve Jobs didn't like to think about it, but he had pancreatic cancer. Because of his health problems, he had to step down as CEO of Apple soon after Steve Jobs died. The company's now. Apple now. Apple is just like it was years ago, always on the brink of a new and amazing idea. Its CEO, Tim Cook, is at the head, just like its original CEO, Steve Jobs, once was. Microsoft now. Bill Gates is still alive, but he's not CEO anymore. The new CEO is Satya Nadella. He continues to sell his software Windows to other computer companies. Very different than Apple, who stays private. Conclusion. The rest is history. Now these computers are so small and high-tech that if you showed these machines to Steve Jobs, I think he would faint. Who knows, maybe another company will come along and compete with them. What do you think? Citation. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful week or weekend maybe, hopefully. And I'll see you next time I do a project. Bye.